Well, for more on this story, I'm joined on the set by Julia Seeger, France 24 science editor. Also on the line, we have Jamie Pringle, a lecturer, a reader in forensic geoscience at Keele University. Thank you, Jamie, for speaking to us. Julia, let's begin with you. Take us through a little bit more details about the Titan submersible.
So it is Ocean Gates Expeditions, a private company that is operating the submersible, and they announced in a very concise statement on Monday that they were exploring all ways to bring back the crew safely. The Titan, as your report was saying, submerged on Sunday, June the 18th in the morning, but the support vessel, which is called the Polar Prince, actually lost contact an hour and 45 minutes into the dive. So pretty quickly, and now it's believed that, as also your report was mentioning, that it should be around 900 miles east of Cape Cod, and it's authorities in Boston who are the U.S. Coast Guard of Boston who are overlooking all of these searches. So just to show you on this map, this is actually where the collision of the Titanic happened. So it's in between St. John's, Cape Cod, and the collision, the wreckage site.
Yeah, Jamie, we're talking about how they lost contact less than 2 hours into the dive. Any idea what went wrong? I mean, I know it's very early, but what are the possibilities?
Yeah, I mean, it's difficult to say, as you point out. Probably something electrical, I would think. But partly one of the biggest issues is the water depth, as you mentioned just now, means that any search for it is going to be a very large search footprint. It's going to be a lot bigger than other searches recently, which is going to be a big problem.
And that water pressure, Jamie, sorry just to cut you off. When we talk about that water pressure, explain that to our viewers. Are we even sure this vessel's still intact?
I mean, it has been specifically designed to get to that depth. The water pressure is super big there, 380 times, I think, bigger than at sea level. A lot of commercial submarines or military submarines may struggle to get that depth themselves, but that's why it's small and has so thick on the compartment.
Yeah, Julia, you were talking a little bit earlier about the risks of diving at such depths. There are many concerns, aren't there?
Yeah, indeed. There's a lot of risk because you're diving very deep in the sea. It's believed that it is important to say that it's believed that if the Titan received the authorization to dive, it means that it was able to meet all of the criteria of the special control offices of this type of submersible. But there's definitely going to be an investigation on that specifically. The cause of the incident is unknown. It could be a technical error. It could be a human error. It could have collided with something as well. But for now, it's we still don't know. It's very difficult to determine indeed. Now, when it comes to the characteristics of the submersible, we were just talking about it. It weighs approximately 10 tons. It's made out of carbon fiber and titanium, and it's used both for research and exploration missions. So that's important also to underline that. It can dive at a depth of 4,000 meters, and as Mr. Pringle was just saying, in documents that were filed by Ocean Gate to the court, it says that it can dive at 4,000 meters, and that's actually a comfortable safety margin.
Jamie, 4,000 meters, how does that complicate the search and rescue effort?
Yeah, I mean, you've got such a big water column there. So obviously, the deeper the water depth, the larger the search footprint's going to have to be. So if you're in a very shallow water, it's relatively easy. It's not going to move that far, but we don't know what the currents are likely to be from the surface to the depth. A lot of the ocean obviously hasn't been surveyed either, so we don't know what the bottom of the ocean is likely to be. Hopefully, it's fairly fine-grained, as you saw from those photos of the Titanic earlier, but it may have seamounts and canyons if it has got to the bottom, and then it's comparatively more difficult to find using sonar, which I think is the equipment they're using to find try and locate.
How would a mission like this, Jamie, compare to other deep sea explorations like the search for the missing MH730 flight in 2014 or the plane crash of the Emilio Sala in 2019?
Yeah, so MH370 in the Indian Ocean, that's actually a bigger search footprint, if you like, because we lost contact with it at some point above the sea, so not sure where it landed in the sea, and then at some point, obviously, if it did land in the sea, where did it go after that? It's a much bigger search area, so in some ways it's easier with this one being a relatively simple down and up mission. However, with Emiliano Sala, the footballer that you mentioned, who went down in the aircraft in the English Channel, the water depth there was a lot shallower, only a few hundred meters. So therefore, it's a lot easier to find it. And in fact, they were really successful with their search survey. So that was in some ways a little bit simpler than this one.
Julia, what are you seeing in terms of the rescue equipment?
Well, what we know now is that they've deployed C-130 aircrafts, and what's important, also smaller planes as well, P-8s aircrafts, and they have these underwater detection capabilities, which are really important. They've also deployed buoys and sonars because at that depth you can't see much, so you're going to have to listen in also to what's happening, listen in to traces of life.
Jamie, as of Monday, it was thought there were several days of life support. Obviously, it's reduced since then. For the people on board, and of course we're speaking in hypotheticals here, what do they have to be doing in terms of behavior to stretch that out as long as possible?
Yeah, they've obviously got to stay calm, haven't they? Use as little oxygen as possible, which you can, well, difficult to imagine ourselves, I guess, but trying to keep calm, trying not to move too much. Hopefully, if it's an equipment issue, I think your colleague might be able to say that there's some rescue methodologies for it to be able to go up automatically. So I'm hoping that would be the case in this one.
Jamie, have you ever seen such a search operation like this before?
Not really. I mean, obviously, you probably remember the Kursk submarine with that catastrophic Russian submarine explosion. Without sadly, all those mariners died in it. So it's really difficult. And after 24 hours, your chance of survival reduces each time. So the longer this time period is going on, obviously, the less chance of them being rescued. Sadly, there is as well.
Julia, you wanted to add something?
I wanted to add something about this submersible because I think it's important to say that there are no other companies that have such a submersible that can go so deep, and even states are having trouble developing such submersible. And the economic model is indeed to try to find billionaires that want to go on these expeditions to then be able to finance those their research capabilities as well. Ocean Gate Expedition charges today its customers $250,000 for a place on their expedition, and that's exactly also what Virgin Galactic is doing, but also Blue Origin to get civilians up there for suborbital flights. And actually, one of the person that is in the Titan right now is Hamish Harden, the CEO of Action Aviation. He was among the first tourists to take part in a suborbital flight in 2022 with Blue Origin.
Yeah, and this cutting-edge science used to make a submersible like this being financed by people's fuel or desire to revisit Titanic.
Absolutely. And when we saw actually a month ago in May, we saw for the first time a French a company called Magellan who decided to complete a 3D reconstruction of the Titanic wreck. It's 700,000 images that were taken by autonomous submarines, and the reconstruction is absolutely incredible. It gives you more details about the condition of the ship, its trajectory when it went down, but also the objects surrounding at the bottom. You'll see the staircase there. We all know it because of James Cameron's movie. Here, you're seeing a helix, and if you actually zoom in, like we're going to do in just 1 second, you're actually going to see the serial number. There you go, of this helix. That's how precise they can be. And another French company actually did that with Notre Dame before the fire, and so we were able to reconstruct. You can see it there with. A lot of details exactly how that was, and we actually use this 3D model. It's called a digital twin to help reconstruct the cathedral.
Yeah, it's amazing. Let's hope that the crew and the passengers can be found from that Titan submersible. Julia,
Absolutely.
Thank you very much, Julia.
And we're thinking about their families as well.
Yes, France 24 science editor Jamie Pringle also on the line with us from Keele University.
Thank you.